So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Keir Starmer again, with the usual disclaimer of I obviously want Labour to win next election, but I want them to actually have policies that I believe in and push for social change that I believe in, rather than being vacuous or whatever the word is. They're standing for very little and they're being found out in the polls. The Joe Biden strategy simply isn't working because we're not in the US of A, we're in the UK. So very different. Different strategies are needed. People saying that, Joe Biden won by just being a patriot and all this stuff. It's very different. Especially Starmer standing within the UK is very different to Joe Biden standing within America. But without further ado, let's get into the actual topics within the video and talk about some of the issues. So Keir Starmer facing pressure to end silence on Tory Brexit failures. So Keir Starmer, a guy who backed the Brexit deal without actually reading it, which is pretty embarrassing, which was a massive tactical blunder, because any issues that come out of the deal, Tory MPs say, but you voted for it as well. And that's the narrative that's going to run with it. People, he can't add the caveat, or I voted for it because it's better than a no deal. But then that won't work, because no deal wasn't going to happen. Even the knuckleheads at the ERG were saying that no, we're going to back the thing. So Starmer's arguments and any arguments from the party are worthless in that respect. So Labour leader Keir Starmer is coming under growing pressure from senior party figures and activists to hold Boris Johnson to account over the disastrous effects of his Brexit deal on many UK businesses. We'll be talking about this stuff, later on in the video. So after more than 6 weeks of virtual radio silence on Brexit, the Labour leader has yet to make a sustained challenge on any sort to the Prime Minister on the issue that is. This is despite hauliers reporting massive falls in trade volumes to the EU, and half of 470 UK exporters telling the British Chamber of Commerce in a survey that they are facing a real problem. So we can see that hauliers and businesses are facing big issues. And Keir Starmer saying, "Oh, bro, I love the country and the flag," when Johnson announced the limited trade deal. I like how they phrased that, actually. The limited free trade deal with the EU on the 24th of December, Starmer made a statement that Labour would accept the deal to avoid any risk of a no-deal outcome. So Starmer being very stupid and putting his cards on the table early, rather than being upfront. Rather than waiting and sort of forcing the government to make concessions, or to make it clear that Labour does not support this deal. It is against no deal, but it's against this deal because of the impact it's going to have on the UK. But he insisted it was limited and flawed, and that Labour would stop at nothing to expose its shortcomings. So where you at then? Where you at? We will hold you to account for it every second you're in. Oh, gotta do the voice. We will hold you account for it every second you are in power, for the promises you have made and the promises you break, Starmer said. So where are you on him lying about Northern Ireland, saying that Northern Ireland will have unfettered access to GB? Come on, man. Since then, despite having insisted the deal would boost UK trade, and that there would be no borders in the Irish Sea, many UK exporters have been driven to take drastic action, either stopping exports to the EU altogether or setting up operations inside the single market, meaning the loss of jobs, investment and tax revenues in the UK. This is something we've talked about a lot on this channel, with regards to the cheese maker in Macclesfield, and other groups and other people setting up subsidiaries within the EU, and also moving investment and other things with it into the EU because of things like customs checks and rules of origin, etc. Last night, Richard Corbett, a former Labour leader in the European Parliament and ex-member of the Shadow Cabinet, called on Starmer to start exposing the Prime Minister's incompetence and malevolence. The idea that the Brexit issue is done and dusted is for the birds, Corbett told The Observer, first because Johnson's deal is full of gaps that still need to be negotiated, including on services and on fisheries. Fisheries is an ongoing thing that will, I think it's every few years or up to every 5 years, they're going to renegotiate on fisheries. Services, they're trying to agree equivalency. They have until the end of March. And so clearly this thing isn't over yet. Second, because where it had settled issues, it has done so badly. Secondly, because where it has settled issues, it has done so badly, as shown by the crescendo of complaints from companies and others, including musicians and students. and third, because the government seems intent on seeking conflict with the EU, from threatening to tear up the agreement on Northern Ireland to departing from the level playing field commitments. So there's a lot of ammunition here for the Labour Party, but Keir Starmer's not taking any of it. He's not using it. Just as with COVID, Labour must highlight Johnson's incompetence and malevolence and point out how the damage can be rectified. Ben Bradshaw, the MP for Exeter and a former Labour cabinet minister, said it was entirely right that Starmer had decided to focus his criticism mainly on COVID. However, Bradshaw added, with the mounting evidence of basic flaws and programmes in Boris Johnson's deal, it is not going to be sustainable not to talk about Brexit for much longer. Otherwise, what is the point of being in opposition? And he can do both. He has 6 questions. Well, realistically, he has 5 questions because the Prime Minister has to respond to 5. He could use 3 on COVID and 2 on Brexit, or he could use 3 on Brexit and 2 on COVID, or he could have a week just specifically talking about Brexit and all the issues. Like, this isn't hard. Like, Starmer and his team are actually awful at doing their job. That's the reason why they can't surpass the Tories in the polls. Like, you had people in New Labour and all these sort of centristy kind of centre-left people saying, oh, Corbyn should be 20 points ahead of the Tories now. Like, where are you people at now? Because honestly, he should be dunking on Johnson right now. There's no way the Conservative Party should be ahead in the polls. I don't care if you can talk about, oh, the media's on their side. The media have been quite critical of Boris Johnson. At least some tabloids have, and some broadcast media has as well. So why are you not setting out your position of how you would deal with these things differently? I've seen an article from Annalise Dodds, or written about Annalise Dodds, the Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, talking about how she would have reformed the COVID loan scheme to businesses. Like, why are you not offering solutions as well, Starmer? Like, this is just embarrassing. This is not opposition. That's what it isn't. Many Labour MPs say that Starmer, having ordered his troops to support the deal, fears he would fall into a political trap set by the Conservatives if he now attacked Johnson for his consequences. I mean, this was not hard. This is not, this is not some sort of expert trap laid by, a master general here.
Now end this! Sorry to disappoint you, Yugi. Huh? You triggered my trap card!
This was basic. Even I saw this coming. That's how obvious a trap it was. But Keir Starmer just walked straight into it. It's a bear trap. It's a bear trap. He just walked onto it. His leg's caught now. He doesn't know how to get out. Labour MPs say it is clear that Starmer is worried about his party losing the support of more traditional voters who have voted for Brexit if he were to start to criticise that deal that implemented it at the 2019 general election. The Tories took many seats. Obviously, the Red Wall crumbled in the Midlands and the north of England, which Starmer knows he will have to win back to have any chance of entering Downing Street. But the point you could make is the Brexit that some of you people voted for was not the Brexit that was implemented. That's the point you need to start making. That we don't have no non-tariff barriers. We don't have access for services and fisheries. You can make the point that they lied about the Brexit deal that they pushed in 2019, but instead, like a monumental idiot, you voted for that deal and you forced Labour MPs and shadow cabinet ministers to vote for that deal. You're dragging this party down because you don't understand tactics. That's the problem with Starmer. But Labour pro-Europeans, that's people like Andrew Adonis, say the issues are too important to ignore because of fears of being embarrassed at the dispatch box. He set that embarrassment up for himself. Michael Chesham, national organiser for the left-wing Labour grouping Another Europe, is possible, said again and again Starmer seems to be going back on his promises. He won the Labour leadership on a cast-iron promise to defend freedom of movement, and last month he announced on live television that this was no longer his policy, so blatant liar. He has carefully manufactured an image as a principled internationalist, and yet he whipped for the government's dreadful Brexit deal in December, and when he voted for that deal, he did so promising to hold the government to account, which he has not done. A spokesperson for Starmer said he was not available for comment on Saturday, and that Rachel Reeves, who has responded to stories about post-Brexit chaos by accusing the government of incompetence, we knew they were incompetent, we knew this, was leading on the issue. Like, no, not Rachel Reeves, no. Oh, why does it always have to be her? See, the Conservatives have wrapped businesses in red tape and higher costs and put contracts and jobs at risk. Labour will challenge them every step of. But you haven't, though. You haven't. This is just pure. Oh, you haven't challenged them, though. In the latest opinion poll for The Observer, the Tories have stretched their lead to 5 points to 42%, up 3 points a fortnight ago, while Labour are on 37%, down 1 point. Boris Johnson maintains his lead on who would be the best Prime Minister. Yo, imagine this guy, this country's had over 100k COVID deaths now. We had one of the highest death rates per capita, and people still believe Boris Johnson would be a better Prime Minister than you. Like, how are you this bad at your job? On Sunday, Labour launches a plans to help ease COVID debt burden faced by firms across the country by setting up a British business recovery agency. While not specifically mentioning Brexit, Dodd said the party's priority is to help businesses get back on their feet, secure our economy, and get Britain back on the road to recovery. Why are you not mentioning Brexit? That's one of the things that are impacting businesses. Oh, these people, man. Oh, they actually cause me pain. British business is currently weighed down by £71 billion of COVID debt through government-backed loans during the crisis, which the Chancellor encouraging banks to begin asking for repayments in March. New analysis by Labour reveals that 850,000 businesses are at risk of closure in the next 3 months, putting 2.4 million jobs at risk. And you've got to think that if they start taking back repayments from March and your business hasn't opened, there's no way you're going to be able to pay that money back. It's going to be very difficult. Labour's plan would ease the debt burden on businesses, the student loan style system, blah, blah, blah. I would have given them grants, to be honest. I wouldn't have asked for the money back, so long as the money went into the business and that they could prove that. And you would have to set up a mechanism for that. But this is just shocking from Keir Starmer, saying that we're going to hold the party to account. We're going to hold you to account over your Brexit deal. Brexit now. Who's that fam? Never heard of him in my life. Never heard of Brexit fam. What's this? What's this Brexit exiting Britain leaving the EU? That's what he's turned into. I'm a COVID guy now, and you've got tweets from you've got this opinion poll. 5 points, embarrassing stuff here. Starmer, he's run out of ideas. Starmer calls in Mandelson to inject a dose of New Labour's winning mentality. New Labour, I think, would struggle to win in this day and age. I think they would struggle now. That era has gone. That kind of third wave era has gone. People want, but then again, I think it was Tony Blair actually crucified John Major many times in PMQs, and he was very press savvy. Keir Starmer is not those things, so it's not very clear what he's going to do. And I forgot this guy's name. I follow him on Twitter. He's going after Starmer as well. Alistair Campbell, that's it. Alistair Campbell, he's also going after Starmer because of his failings. And we'll go to our final article, which is Keir Starmer's aide tells left-wing Labour critics to bring it on. Like, why are you encouraging more problems? Why are you scoring own goals? That's what Labour specialise in. I made a Drake meme. I sent it to Ellis where Drake puts his hand in front of his face and goes, Labour scoring open goals against the other team. No, Labour scoring goals against itself. Yes. An aide to Keir Starmer. Like, what's your name then? Tell us your name. If you're big, does it say it? Does it say the name? Caroline Harris, the Labour's parliamentary, it does, leader, PPS, told HuffPost that left-wing critics of Starmer are making themselves look silly. Like, do you know who's making themselves look silly? You. Do you know who's making themselves look silly? Starmer. It came after a coalition of MPs, unions and Labour members called Starmer to hold an emergency party conference amid speculation of a leadership change. That's obviously not going to happen. We are, about 4 years away from a general? But Harris told HuffPost UK's all this nonsense, and so and so is going to challenge him for leadership. Bring it on, because it's nonsense. Why are you encouraging a civil war within the Labour Party, Caroline Harris? Why are you doing this? Come into the real world, my loves, and let's talk about the damage that's been done and the repair work we are doing. What? You're not talking about the damage being done by Brexit, though, are you? You're not talking about it and the repair work we're doing. What repair work are you doing? I see very little. You're offering one solution when it comes to the business repayment scheme, which is good, but how are you going to solve the damage on Brexit? How are you going to help all the other small businesses out? What are you going to do specifically to help them? Apart from, change it to a student loan style system where businesses are still going to have to pay out for loans that they shouldn't have had to have needed for the most part, but they only needed it because of the Conservative Party's incompetence. Where are you going to make that point that businesses had to keep consistently shutting down because of this government? Why are you not making these arguments? Why are you so bad at your job? The Labour leaders also draw an ire for not being detailed or specific enough about his policy platform, but Harris said Starmer has been focused so much of the time on being elected Labour leader last April, rebuilding the party. I mean, he offered policy solutions there. He said he wasn't going to end freedom of movement. Talking about, he had to rebuild the party's image because it was a laughingstock. He was part of that cabinet, that shadow cabinet, so that's a joke. Because he was part of it then. If Labour became a laughingstock under Corbyn, Starmer was a key instrument in that. So him rebuilding the party doesn't make sense because he was a key part in the Labour Party becoming a joke. Honestly. When I see these articles, I've actually done it this morning. When I see these articles which say so-and-so, we've just read that. That's the time I think, God, we're getting it right. No, you're not. You're getting it wrong. Because these people are saying this because you're not doing a good job. That's why. These people. Oh, I must be getting criticised from the left because I'm doing a bang up job. It's like, no, you're being criticised because you're not good at your job. We had that project. It failed abysmally. We're a laughingstock. Bruv, you're going to fail again. And this time, it might not be as bad, but you're going to fail. And if your argument is, the Conservatives have a slightly smaller majority from 80 to, say, 70 or 60, that's not a win. Harris said she cries when she thinks about Labour MPs lost in 2019 in the so-called Red Wall, like Vernon Coker, Jenny Chapman and David Hanson, parliamentarians to their fingertips, good, professional, excellent politicians, and we lost them. Who cares about them being good parliamentarians, all this stuff? They're gone. Labour will struggle to win these people back. They will struggle to win these people back, especially following Starmer's plan, which is no plan, which is I'm going to criticise you, but I'm not going to offer a solution. That's Labour Party strategy right there. We are a credible opposition. No, you're not. No, you're not, because you're not talking about some of the problems. You're not offering solutions. Starmer will become Prime Minister of this country. No, he's not. I can't. Sorry, I'm struggling to get through the rest of this, but this is almost the end of the video. I'm sorry. This is just pain at this point. We're getting to Richard Budgeon complaining about Starmer's polling during a crisis in which the government's inadequacies and failures and negligence has caused the death of unnecessarily of tens and tens of thousands of people. Over 100,000 people have died. We're in the biggest crisis for decades, and we're not sufficiently cutting through at the moment. Budgeon went on. It seems to many people that the leadership has shown more enthusiasm for attacking the left in the Labour Party than it has for properly holding the government to account. This can't go on. We need leadership to take the fight. You're meant to unify these two groups of people, the centrist wing and the left wing. You're meant to unify them. By doing stuff like this, it's not going to help. By you not doing your job properly, you're not going to help, because even centrist, even centre-left people are coming after you, Starmer. You're not doing a good job. So-called Knight of the Realm. You can't protect yourself. You don't know how to protect yourself. You don't know what you're doing. Honestly, just get some competent people into your backroom staff to talk over tactics. Please, offer solutions, offer credible opposition. Say these are the issues, this is what the Prime Minister has done to resolve them, which haven't worked. This is what I would do to resolve them, which will work for these reasons. Quote experts, start talking to people, figure out solutions to help people. Honestly, man, I'm just getting more pain by the day, and I'm gonna end up with wrinkles like him if this carries on, because this is pure stress at this point. All the flag nonsense, him trying to be a patriot and all this stuff, when I gave you the blueprint in my last video about how you can be patriotic without having to need to go to xenophobia. I gave you that blueprint last time. I'm giving this advice to you, Starmer, for free. I'm not an expensive consultant. I'm telling you this for free. Please someone listen. Please someone get Starmer to listen to someone with a brain. Please, because he's clearly not listening to anyone, and none of his advisors clearly have an ounce of intelligence. And then he keeps sending out Rachel Reeves, like, why? No one likes Rachel Reeves. Oh, it's just pain. At least, I give you Shadow Chancellor some credit, but you're clearly hampering her when it comes to talking about Brexit. That's obvious. So Starmer, start talking about Brexit. Start talking about how you're going to resolve some of these issues that the country is facing right now. That's how you become credible opposition. That's how elections are won. Not this nonsense, I'm going to agree with the government even though the government's wrong on this one, because I don't want to look like I'm one of those people who always disagrees for the sake of disagreeing. Stop it. Stop it. I'm done. I'm done with this segment. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You know, just, oh, this guy. I'm done. We're on Discord as well. Join Discord server. We can talk about this stuff. Don't be toxic. That's all I ask. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.